there are things which are possible, which are jaiz for Anbiya and for Rusul, like they eat, they drink, they marry, they sleep. It appears on the face of it that as they are eating, and we are also eating, so perhaps either they are like us or we are like them. Ma'azallah. Or when they are thirsty, they are drinking. When we are thirsty, we are drinking. So maybe we are very similar to each other. Or we also marry, they also married, they also had children. So they were having a family life like all of us. So maybe we are very, very close to each other. We are in the same club, or we are on the same boat. That will be a complete misconception. They do these things, and they do it because they need to teach us how to eat, how to drink, how to live a family life. They could have lived without eating, without drinking. When Nabi sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam went for Miraj, he did not take water. There is no hadith that he took some water because it was a long journey. He did not take oxygen cylinder with him because after the atmospheric space there is no oxygen. So they could have lived, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with His mercy allowed them to live a life where they were eating, they were drinking, they were marrying, they were having wives, they were having children, so that we can learn how eating and drinking becomes sunnah and accordingly ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How marrying and having wives and children becomes an act of worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They sleep, but there is an exception that their eyes sleep, but their hearts do not sleep. This is what Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam has said in one of the hadiths, that my eyes sleep but my heart never sleeps. And this is why you will see in the handout that Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam used to perform some of the prayers immediately after coming out of his sleep. Once he was performing salah in the last hour of the night, Hazrat Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala anha noticed that he got up from his bed and he straight away went to his musalla and he started praying. And she asked, "O Prophet of Allah, were you not sleeping?" He said, "Yes, I was sleeping, but my heart never sleeps. And that's why my sleep never breaks my wudu." So this is what we need to know about these things which are possible and jaiz for Anbiya. These things are impossible. It cannot happen with a Nabi. Like a Nabi is not an ignorant or an illiterate person. As I told you that all Anbiya and Rusul, they receive revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is their teacher and tutor. Ar-Rahman allamal Quran. Rahman, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught Quran to Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. Fear and anxiety which leads to subjugation, defeat, depression, frustration, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protects His prophets and messengers from these physical weaknesses. There is a report about Hazrat Yaqub's blindness. Mufassirun and scholars, they have clarified it by saying that it was only a very short and temporary thing, because he was crying a lot, remembering his son Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam. But it was not a permanent sort of blindness, because it is a defect, and these defects repulse people, make you humble and small and undermined in the eyes of the people. So all those things which may undermine the position and status of a person, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protects all our His messengers and His prophets from these weaknesses. There is a hadith, Allama Taftazani has mentioned this hadith in his book Al-Aqeedah Nasafi, that there were 124,000 or 224,000 prophets sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. 25 have been mentioned by name in the Holy Quran. There are 4 persons in which the Muslim scholars have different opinion. For Hazrat Zulqarnain, for Hazrat Luqman, for Hazrat Uzair, and for Hazrat Khizr, you will find disagreement among the scholars. And the vast majority of the ulama of Ahlus Sunnah, they have the opinion that Zulqarnain was a ruler, a just ruler, and Hazrat Luqman was a wali and a very, very wise person, and Hazrat Khizr alayhi salam is a Nabi, and he has been given a long life. The Sufiya and the ulama of Ahlus Sunnah almost have a consensus about it until now, that Hazrat Khizr is still alive, and there is disagreement about Hazrat Uzair alayhi salam also. Otherwise, this is the information we can offer you about the number. Finally, Mujizat. What is a Mujiza? What is a miracle? An act which contravenes the laws of nature, which bypasses the laws of nature, performed by one who claims to be a prophet with the assistance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is how we can briefly describe a miracle, a mujiza. And there are many, many examples of mujizat in the Holy Quran and in Ahadith. For example, Isra and Mi'raj is one of the miracles of our Nabi sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. He did split the moon, water from his blessed fingers started to ooze out. The tree, when he ordered, a tree came to him walking, and tumbling or falling down of the 360 idols in Kaaba, curing Hazrat Qatada's sight from arrow wound, and curing blind person. A person who was a blind person came to Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, and he advised him that go perform 2 rakah and make dua to Allah with my wasila. And he did that, and he became again a person with a perfect healthy eye. So these are some of the examples of the miracles of our Nabi sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam mentioned in Quran or Hadith. There is a similar sort of thing, very similar to miracle, but we use a different word, karamat or karama. An act which contravenes again the laws of nature, done by a wali, male or female, a pious Muslim or Muslimah who does not claim to be a prophet. So it is called as karama. Quran mentions about a wali who was a sahabi of Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salam. His name has been mentioned as Asif. He brought the throne in a twinkle of an eye from a very distant place. So he brought the throne of Bilqis in the court of Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salam. So this is the karama mentioned in the Quran. Hazrat Maryam's mihrab, where she used to worship, she used to receive fruits that were out of season, out of market. So Hazrat Zakaria asked her, where are you getting these fruits? She said, this is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is a karama of Sayyida Maryam radiyallahu ta'ala anha. Or Hazrat Khalid ibn Walid, he did drink a poison, a lethal poison, with the recitation of Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And the poison did not affect at all. It was a karama of Hazrat Khalid. Hazrat Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, at a time of a war, it was the time of the Khilafah of Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, and he was in Masjidun Nabi. It was a Friday. During his khutbah, he started to say, Ya Sariya al-Jabal, Ya Sariya al-Jabal. Oh Sariya, he was the commander of the Muslims army, take the protection of the mountain. So he started guiding the Muslim soldiers from Medina al-Munawwara while they were hundreds of miles away from Medina. And Sariya later on reported that he heard the voice of Hazrat Umar, and this is how he changed the course of the war. His army was almost about to be defeated, but this guidance received by Hazrat Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu changed the course of the war, and Muslim army got victory. So Sariya was able to listen to the voice of Hazrat Umar from a very, very distant place. So it is the karama of Hazrat Umar, and it is the karama of Hazrat Sariya also. So these are some of the examples. Next week, inshallah ta'ala, it will be an extended program on the same topic, and superiority of some of the prophets, the finality of our Nabi sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, and can we call a Nabi or a Rasul a Bashar? These will be the three main issues to be inshallah tabaraka wa ta'ala presented and shared with you. So please don't go away and be with us every Sunday evening after Salatul Maghrib. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.